Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be doing the the third and final part of my review of the woodpecker method. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for future updates. Well, to start off this review, let's discuss what I liked about the woodpecker method. First off, I thought that the problem selection was very good for the most part. A lot of teachable moments. So you were learning about the tactical themes, but the author gave a bit of advice about how to evaluate positions, and within the context of the variations, even showed you where you should be looking or how far ahead you should look to be able to give yourself full credit for the problem if you were scoring yourself. And I'll show you an example of that in a moment. The next thing that I thought was very important was that there were mixed themes in the ordering. It wasn't all pins and then forks and then discovered attacks. There were, it was more ordered by world champion, and the tactical motif involved would vary from position to position, which I think is good for training overall after you have the basic uh, idea of these basic tactical moves. There's something to be said about using problems that involve one of the world champions. I think because our chess game has such a uh, long heritage, dating way back to the 18th century and before, but even if you look at modern chess from, say, Steinitz forward or Morphy forward, we have a rich heritage, and these world champions being able to appreciate the genius and the artistry that they brought through the years through these problems, I think is valuable and something I enjoyed about the woodpecker method. Finally, the Chessable format, having it on Chessable and to be able to use the Chessable spaced repetition in order to learn these patterns, I think is very important. And I'll talk a little more about that in a little bit. Okay, this position is an example of what I mean by the teachable moments. So here, the solution to the problem is knight takes e3, of course, removing the knight from danger as well as potentially exposing this um, discovered attack. And after rook takes e3, we attack the pin piece here, rook f e8, and that is the solution to the problem. But if we look in the notes here, we actually see this little check mark. And so these check marks indicate that we need to have seen that in order to get full credit for the problem. Now, this is kind of for the book version if you're scoring on your own, but it's something to note when you're calculating these problems. And sometimes when we're doing tactical problems, sometimes we get into a rhythm and we just kind of chunk out the moves. But what he's encouraging you to do here is make sure you're looking at all the options. So you may have considered bishop takes e3 check as one of your candidates, but he shows simply here after bishop takes e3 that you're in trouble here because you've got this queen being attacked as well as this knight being attacked, so you're going to lose material. And there's a lot of that type of text in this book, so it really teaches you how to think about chess positions, not just, and this is applicable not just to tactics, but to any chess position to be able to look at different candidates and look at different options and also to find your opponent's replies. So that's a great example. And again, there's a lot of those in the book. Well, what do I think could be improved about this ebook? For the most part, not much. I really think that it is well made. I think that the problems are chosen well and it's annotated pretty well. I think it is not for beginners. So a person just starting out in tactics or maybe weaker should start out with maybe something a little more basic, which I'll give a recommendation for in the next slide. Um, and I guess the only other thing which really only affected a couple problems for me was that I felt there was some lack of explanation behind the moves. And again, I think part of this could be the nature of this not being a book for beginners. So overall, I think it was very hard to find things that I did not like about it. And so I'll leave it at that. Before I move on to my recommendations, I just wanted to show you an example from one of my games and how training the woodpecker method has helped me. I think that going through these exercises and going through the book is really sharpened my calculation skills as well as making my analysis more complete before I make moves. I think that's something that is beneficial for all players. So let's just take a look at this, and then I'll go on to my final examples. In this game, I'm already winning by a couple of pawns, but I wanted to put the game away because he has a lot of pieces here and can cause some trouble. So I started off with queen takes f2 check, and the point behind what I'm about to show you is that right before I played this, I had calculated this whole sequence out. So all of this was already seen in my mind before I played this. So king takes f2, otherwise he's just losing a queen. Take here on a g2, and of course he's compelled to take back. And now rook to d2 check. Okay, attacking the king. King moves out of the way, and rook takes h2. King takes h2, and the final point behind this combination is knight to f3 check. Being able to see that final fork at the end of a 5-move combination was very satisfying, and I'm going to attribute some of that increased skill to the woodpecker method. So on to my final recommendations. Okay, overall, I really think this is a great book, and I think it's really aimed towards more intermediate and I would say ambitious players. So you can maybe start this a little earlier. There are some, more basic tactics, but I think that I would start maybe at USCF about 1200, 1300, and upwards to maybe tackle this. Um, I recommend using Chessable's repetition approach to not necessarily do sort of these 7 circles. Do it once all the way through, and then do it again with in half the time. I think the spaced repetition approach, in partly this is my opinion or at least my interpretation of the scientific research behind memory and being able to apply to memory, is that the way that Chessable does it, I think will give you a little more pattern recognition and be able to apply these patterns into your actual games. I think the 7 circles approach may achieve the same thing, but it is my opinion, or at least my interpretation, that maybe not as efficiently as just using Chessable's repetition approach. So that would be my recommendation if you decide to go forward with this book. Um, Finally, I think that if you are a beginner, less than that 1200, 1300 level, that you could look at another ebook on Chessable, 1001 Chess Exercises. I have a review to that ebook on the channel, and I'll put a link in the description there as well. By the way, that book, the 1001 Chess Exercises, I think is applicable to a lot of players as well, because even though it starts out very easy, and really shows the basics, it does have more difficult problems as well. In any case, that is what I think of the book. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you'll check it out. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you'll check out the woodpecker method on chessable.com. Look in the description below for links. And if you are new to this channel, Better Chess Training is about helping you become a better chess player. And I believe that improvement in chess is a journey, not a destination. And I'd love to join you on become the best chess player that you can be. Hit subscribe and hope to see you soon.